welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, the 7th of August, 2018. I am Jennifer Richardson. Before the details, I have an apology. SVG-TV would like to apologize to its viewers from Barley to Rose Hall and onwards for the poor quality reception being experienced, which is entirely beyond our control. SVG-TV apologizes for any inconvenience caused. Now the details to the news. More work must be done to educate the public on a sustained basis on the structure and functions of the Caribbean Court of Justice. So says lawyer Jamali John as he spoke on Magic 103.7 Sunday Brunch program, where the panel discussed issues surrounding the court and why many jurisdictions have not acceded to its appellate jurisdiction. John said that there are legitimate concerns from the public relating to the effectiveness of the CCJ in dispensing justice, which has to do with the information that is disseminated.
So I can assure you that most people don't really know the institutional features of the CCJ, and there's not much being done in the public sphere to educate people about how the CCJ works and how it is designed to be independent, right? So we have almost a complete absence of public education on it, and I'm not sure why, we haven't taken the time to educate people and, just talk to people about some basic things, about how the judges are being selected, how are they being paid, stuff like that. These are things that people probably don't know about, and they are of the opinion that a politician could probably just pick up the phone and give the judge a call and determine how the decision is made, and that if that is the belief on the ground, then you would always have the resistance that we really don't want. And even in some of the comments that Mr. Thomas has made,
M. Thomas.
Yes, Mr. Thomas.
So you can call him Mr. Thomas and call me Jomo.
Okay. Mr. Thomas have made. I mean, you have to give it some legitimacy.
Other members of the four-member panel also pointed to the need for ongoing discourse and education. Speaker of the OECS House of Assembly, Rene Batiste, given an illustration, pointed to the financing of the court.
Is in, as you say, the environment sometimes is so toxic,
right,
where people only hear the things they want to hear, right, and they latch on to that little one. Because even at the time when they were dealing with, my memory serves me right, with the commission, people were generally, okay, that sounds like a better services commission than other services commissions that they've heard about for the selection of judges. What was not done, I think, was a concentrated effort to educate John public
right,
about that. One also, the second thing, which was unusual, which had not been done, was the way the court is financed. And the way the court is financed is also one of the issues that generally, perhaps outside of the region, is looked upon as increasing the independence of the court. So it's not dependent on whether a government likes you or don't like you. You won't have a guard by your gate and all these foolish things that have been indulged in before. That the court has enough money to finance itself.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, lawyer Jomo Thomas, said the political elite have failed the people and have pursued their own self-interest. Thomas said there are some who doubt the ability of the judges of the region and highlighted the example of the OECS Court of Appeal, which he said has quality judges.
The person who heads up our Court of Appeal as the current Chief Justice of the Court of Appeal, this is the woman who built the commercial division of our court from the ground up. But do people do the research? Are they interested in saying that? Are they interested in doing that? When we look, Justice Pereira, she built the commercial division from the ground up. And if you look at the decisions of the court, there are many, many decisions which are decided by that court on serious international companies that run into the billions of dollars. And most of them are not appealed. And as Justice Sanders said in his presentation, of the 21 cases that went before the Privy Council, and let's put aside the criminal cases, on the private cases, of the 12, our Court of Appeal was upheld 67% of the time. 8 of 12 of those cases, the Privy Council upheld the decision of our Court of Appeal. So clearly, there's something that has to do with the quality of the judges.
Meanwhile, veteran lawyer Panel Campbell QC has said there is no evidence to suggest that the Caribbean Court of Justice will make decisions to unfairly benefit regional governments. Campbell made this statement on his Law and You program aired on SVG-TV last night as he continued his call for SVG and other CARICOM countries to accede to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ. Examining recent cases heard by the court in its original jurisdiction, Campbell said there are instances where the court's decision did not favor the particular government and gave a specific example. He highlighted a case where the court struck down a notion which suggested that a judge selected by a named prime minister was not answerable for alleged shortcoming.
But there was the CCJ ruling against the government of Belize. And guess what? The brother of the Prime Minister of Belize is a member of the CCJ. He's a judge on the panel of judges for the CCJ, Justice Barrow. His brother is Prime Minister. He, of course, could not take part in the hearing of the case involving his brother, Prime Minister. But here are a panel of judges, having among them a brother, that is a brother judge, who happens to be the brother of a Prime Minister whose case comes before them. And the CCJ did not hesitate to practically slap the Belizean Prime Minister in his face by saying, no, notwithstanding you appointed this gentleman as a judge who had alleged shortcomings before his appointment, the CCJ said the way should be open for those shortcomings to be investigated, and if found to be true, for the authorities to govern themselves accordingly.
Campbell said he recognizes that those who oppose this country acceding to the appellate jurisdiction of the court cite the cases of two Vincentians who recently won their case at the Privy Council. He countered by highlighting a case where a litigant unsuccessful at the Privy Council, an indication that there is no guaranteed victory of success in taking a case before the Privy Council.
But there was the Privy Council on the 9th of July this year, which is last month, hearing an appeal from the former registrar of Anguilla. She lost her job as registrar, went to the courts of the Caribbean, of the Eastern Caribbean, and they ruled against her. And she then went to the Privy Council to seek a justice. And the Privy Council ruled against her as well. The Privy Council said the Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal was correct in ruling against you. The lady is Mrs. Harding. So that the fact that some cases are won and some are lost doesn't go to show that something is inherently wrong with the Caribbean Court of Justice. People win cases before the Privy Council, they lose cases before the Privy Council. And the two Vincentians who won their cases in the Privy Council could well have won their cases in the CCJ had the CCJ been the final appellate court instead of the Privy Council. There's nothing to say that their arguments would not have prevailed on the CCJ the same way their arguments prevailed upon the Privy Council.
Campbell said he considers the court an essential pillar of true political independence.
Made a statement, and I have made it time and time again, that until we here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines achieve, as part of the Caribbean Brotherhood, total assimilation in the Caribbean justice system at the highest level, that we are still not fully independent, because our final appeals go to the Privy Council, which makes us not fully independent. While we have a regional appeal court, which has in the past 13 years of its existence has proven itself by all measures. It cannot be said, the CCJ cannot be said to be a court that favors governments. It has ruled time and time against governments.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Public Service Union, the PSU, is calling on the Ministry of Labour to intervene on several issues that are affecting workers here. And President Elroy Boucher said they are not ruling out industrial action. At a news conference yesterday, President Elroy Boucher said there are several matters which need to be addressed, and these include poor environments.
The clinic in Patrick Farm, that clinic structurally is unstable. You have the beams are separating from the walls, and anything can happen at any moment. But those nurses have to work under those same conditions. And the government is aware of these problems. At a time when we don't have salary increases and salaries appears to be frozen, at least they can ensure that the conditions under which public officers are working are taken care of.
In addition to the occupational health and safety concerns, Boucher said there has been no positive response with respect to unionizing workers at the Argyle International Airport and the community college.
We have no control over who votes at the poll. We were not even allowed to go on the compound of the college. So we were hoping a simple majority would suffice, but that did not happen. The workers came together and decided that they wanted representation. They took a drive among the staff and they joined the union. So even on their own initiative, they came up with the 50+1. But yet the college is refusing to issue recognition. We have a similar problem at the Argyle International Airport, where we have been trying more than a year ago to have recognition. But our efforts have been frustrated by the CEO.
Mr. Boucher is threatening industrial action if the problems remain unresolved. In the meantime, the president says the union will remain vigilant and continue to press the relevant authorities to ensure that the rights of workers are upheld according to law. He also highlighted the pension and NIS reforms and noted that more needs to be done for senior citizens.
So what we have is that a number of public officers are retiring straight into poverty after working so many years serving the public. The 30% or the 40-something percent that they get as a pension is insufficient to allow them to live a quality life. It's not enough.
This country has come out in solidarity with the government and people of Venezuela in the wake of an incident last Saturday in which an explosives-laden drone exploded at a function where President Nicolas Maduro was speaking. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a statement condemning what has been seen as an attempt to assassinate the Venezuelan leader. Expressions of condemnation and solidarity have also been expressed by the St. Vincent Venezuela Friendship Association, VENVIFA, the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, and Speaker of this country's House of Assembly, Jomo Thomas. Meanwhile, Venezuela's ambassador to SVG, Francisco Perez, said that external forces are behind the attempt to assassinate President Maduro. And in an interview with SVG-TV News today, Ambassador Perez fingered the outgoing president of Colombia as well as the USA. He explained that President Maduro had taken certain actions since the attempted assassination last Saturday.
Now, our president yesterday on TV say that there are 6 persons arrested that were involved in the attempt, and they are talking, they are declaring what they know. And some of the thing that they said is that Colombia is involved in the act. They were trained in Colombia. There are some of them very young people, you know. The person that managed the drum.
Ambassador Perez said President Maduro was due to release evidence today to support the claims made about Colombia's involvement. He said while there were ongoing tensions between the 2 neighboring states, the peoples have had excellent relations. But last Saturday's action could cause the rift at the political and diplomatic levels to deteriorate even further.
Relation between Venezuela and Colombia was damaged before. You know? In fact, the diplomatic representation of each country is just at the level of charge d'affaires now. So, and we had to close the border in so many time for different reasons. Colombia have a big history, a huge history of violence in Colombia for many reasons also. Venezuela didn't have this culture and history of magnicide or assassination of a president, and Colombia had. And of course, the relationship between the 2 neighbors had to be affected for that. In the time that Colombia didn't accept or recognize the participation of member of the society or the oligarchy of Colombia.
Ambassador Perez said apart from the government of SVG and local individuals, a number of organizations, a number of other countries have condemned the attempt on President Maduro's life, and this demonstrates that Venezuela is not alone.
From San Vincent, the support and letter of support from, as you say, not just the government of San Vincent and our friend and our brother, the Venezuelan Vincentian Friendship Association, the BENVIFA, but also from the Garifuna Heritage Foundation and our friend and brother Jomo Thomas, that is the Speaker of the National Assembly, and the Prime Minister personally called me on Sunday morning from Japan to solidarize and to express his friendship with President Maduro and the people of Venezuela. But also from the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda, Jamaica, many other Caribbean countries, Dominica, express solidarity, and from around the world we have so many expressions of solidarity with President Maduro and condemn the attack.
A solidarity rally is planned by BENVIFA for tomorrow afternoon at 4 at the Venezuela Embassy at Maurice Road. SVG has for the first time captured the coveted Miss Caribbean Culture Queen crown in Nevis. At the annual Caribbean Culture Pageant held last evening in Nevis, as a part of the annual Culturama Festival, the reigning Miss SVG, Shalisa Nanturn, fought off 8 other contestants to walk away with this year's title. To show their appreciation for her hard work and celebrate her victory, a reception ceremony was held this afternoon at the VIP lounge of the Argyle International Airport to welcome Nanturn home. Nikita Tony tells us more in this report.
City of North Windward has welcomed yet another crown as fellow resident and the reigning Miss SVG, Shalissa Nanton, returned home with the 2018 Flow Miss Caribbean Culture Queen title. She topped 8 other contenders to take the crown in Nevis last night as they celebrated their Culturama festival. At a ceremony earlier today, Nanton received a welcome fit for her queen as her family, sponsors and other well-wishers were present at the AIA's VIP lounge to welcome her home and congratulate her on a job well done. In his remarks, Minister of Culture Cecil Sesmaki commended all Vincentians for their overwhelming support towards Nanton, noting that her performance will surely benefit the promotion of Vincimas and SVG on a whole.
We keep repeating it all the time that we are unparalleled when it comes to beauty in terms of the tourism product and in terms of a number of aspects of our various festivals. But you're going out there and doing so well gives us that ammunition to start selling Vincimas 2019. In fact, start selling all of our other festivals.
Minister Montgomery Daniel, the parliamentary representative for North Windward, expressed pride in being Nanton's area representative.
I'm sure when you hit the constituency of North Windward this evening, the atmosphere is going to be one that is quite welcoming, one that we know that can bring to bear what the culture we have in North Windward. And I believe that you may have won this competition at a time when we are promoting our Garifuna culture, our Garifuna heritage, and we believe that the next goal for you should be Miss Universe.
Chief Executive Officer of the Carnival Development Corporation CDC, Ashford Wood, took the opportunity to congratulate Nanton's team for seeing her through her journey.
Welcome and congratulations. You have really made us proud. Here is where Lafon and her team comes in. They did an excellent job in making sure that he was prepared for the Miss SVG. They did an even more excellent job in making sure that he was prepared to represent not just her sponsor, not just her community, but the entire country at this pageant.
Head of the CDC's Beauty Shows Committee, LaFern Fraser, extended gratitude to Nanton, her team, and the overall Vincentian public for their drive and support in making SVG's victory possible.
Shows tremendous patriotism and respect for your country and pride in our country's representative, Shalissa Nanton. Shalissa, we are immensely proud of you, and I made the comment last night, the Vinci pride that was felt was insurmountable, still is, and we thank you so much for all that you have put in making your country proud despite an injury that could have easily kept you from performing your best.
Expressing her appreciation for all the support and guidance throughout her 2018 pageant experience, Nanton said she intends to continue to proudly represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Love you guys so much. Thank you for all your love and your support, and I know that you will continue to support me throughout my reign. And of course, to the general public, thank you all so much. I know you had me in your hearts and your prayers, and I want to thank you for all your support. And I am honored to be your Miss SVG 2018 and now Miss Caribbean Cultural Pageant 2018.
Despite receiving an injury to her leg just days before last evening's pageant, Nanton was credited for putting the pain behind her and making her nation proud. The newly crowned Miss Caribbean Culture Queen says she remains guided by the mantra that one should always use all of life's challenges to fuel one's drive to success. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.